link Professor Alen Mujcinovic from Bosnia, from Faculty of Agriculture. Please, Alen, it's very nice to see you again, Alen, because we met last year, I think, in Brussels. And please to introduce all colleagues with short bio. Professor Alen Mujcinovic is an associate professor working in the field of agriculture and food industry economics at the Faculty of Agriculture and Food Science, University of Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Professor Mujcinovic is involved in several national and international projects, most recent the 2020 promoting smart agricultural water management in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Also in Erasmus Plus project for Western Balkans Urban Agriculture Initiative. He's also in Cost Actions. He's also in Rural Need Network. He's involved in teaching markets and marketing of agricultural and food industry products, international trade, agriculture economics, quality management, urban distribution systems, policy, public policy, etc. His PhD degree in agricultural science was very successfully defended in December 2020 with the topic Impact of the Public Policy on the Quality of Business of Medicinal and Aromatic Plant Produced in Bosnia and Herzegovina. This is short bio about Alen, and Alen, please, Professor Alen Mujcinovic, floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tungus. Thank you for your introduction. And I would like to say thank you for all of you who participate in this great summer school. And I'm honored to be invited to deliver my speech on a specific topic. And previous presentation with the professor who tell us more about the composting and importance of compost, then I will continue with the same idea of presenting several slides that should encourage us to think differently, to think how we can invent and reinvent our business models, our farming practices, and develop new job for the rising population. So my name is Alen Mujcinovic, and I'm coming from Faculty of Agriculture and Food Science. And I'm going to present you the presentation on a topic of motivation and challenges of organic producers. Hopefully you can see my full screen presentation.
Yes, no problem.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. So how I prepare my presentation. So I will speak a little bit about the general trends in agriculture. Then I will move toward the role of organic agriculture and aiming for sustainability and general well-being. Then I will tell you a little bit about the key motives and challenges for doing organic agriculture. And then I will switch to my case study that I work on during my PhD study about the barriers for organic agriculture development in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And as Professor Tungus already mentioned, the group of producers that I focused on was medicinal and aromatical plant producers, because that was very promising sector and that it's still promising sector in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And final part is, of course, for the general discussion. Of course, we all are aware of the problems that we are facing right now. This visualization that represent that our planet is suffering is not created during the COVID crisis, but before that one, showing clearly that something has to be changed. Of course, most of the elements that put the pressure on the planet came as a result of globalization. Here on this slide, I present few elements that globalization improves, but also several elements that the globalization decrease or make worse. Of course, one of the elements that is mentioned several times during this summer school is ongoing growth of the population. And of course, because of that, the available land for agricultural activities, and of course for the organic agriculture activities, is decreasing during the time. You are going to see that my presentation consists of multiple figures, and I'm not going to go to present all of them. I just want to focus on several of them that I find as the most important for developing organic agricultural business in our respective countries. One of them that I would like to focus on is this one, that is showing how complex food value chain become, and how long food value chain becomes. Of course, there is another issue related to these long value chains, and that one, it came as a unequal revenue distribution. And you can see on this slide with the banana production that only 4% of the all revenues go to the workers, 20% go to the growers, and this percentage even decreased recently. And on this figure, you can also see that it's similar. The similar thing applies for the growing of coffee in different countries. Only a small percentage of the money goes to the growers. Additional topic that should we all be aware is the food waste and food loss. On this slide, you can see on the left side that developing countries produce more waste in production phases, while less in consumption phases, while for the developed country, it's opposite. But again, as our colleague before showed us, nowadays, even we in the developing countries and each and individual person produce a lot of waste. So we can somehow change it, and we can think about it and improve this situation. To give you a better picture how much waste.
Can you change your slide? It doesn't move.
Oh, sorry. So probably I chose the wrong. Let me stop it for a second. So now, is it on a slide about the food waste? Or it's still the first slide?
It's not yet on. It's black. Now it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for that, and thank you for informing me. So to give you the picture how much waste we are producing, this slide shows you that if the food waste is a country, it would be third emitting country in a world. So it's a huge amount of the emissions that came as a result of food waste and food loss. In addition, there's several other studies performed all over the world showing how much food waste we are producing. And then, for example, in Canada, almost 50% of all food is wasted at the consumption level or the individual level of during the consumption pattern. I'm sure that you saw this slide in a multiple of presentations, how much agriculture in general are contributing to the greenhouse gases emission, and it's a huge percentage of it. Of course, we all are aware of the global warming and the change that we are facing, so we have to do something to change it, and that change should be done very soon. Of course, one of the promising issues are related to the increased number of the GMO products all over the world. Even small countries like Bosnia and Herzegovina is facing a problem with the more and more GMO products and GMO seeds that are available in our countries. Additional topic that should be addressed is the one related to the obesity and to different kind of health problems that mainly came as a result of our health or dietary habits. You can see it all over the world that the percentage of population that's facing a problem with obesity is increasing. I'm sure that each country, if we go through the details, can find the similar results. Another problem that we are facing is that more and more products are facing issues with the food safety. And that's something that organic agriculture, sustainable agriculture, ecological agriculture are trying to solve and to improve this situation. What can help us to solve that problem? So there's multiple options available. I just put some of them that are addressed in some research. So some of the problems could be solved by increased use of aerial imaging, focus on water management, regenerative agriculture, digital information sharing, localized weather data, data integration, field mapping, and many more that I'm going to address. But one interesting thing is that with all these problems that we are facing, there's more opportunities that arise. And I present you the picture of some of the concepts that arise as an answer to the problems that I already mentioned. And of course, organic agriculture is one of the concepts that is trying to solve the problems that I already mentioned. The common thing is that they try to be more sustainable and trying to solve more of these sustainable development goals that are presented here. But why everything in agriculture and food industry is so complex? It's complex because of interaction of multiple factors that I already mentioned, and of course, thousands of them that I didn't have a time to present here, but you are, I'm sure, more than aware of. Because of that, this complex agri-food system, if we can call it, is looking for the solutions that are more complex than in other sectors. Here on this slide, you can see how many different risk layers farmers are facing. And I would like to address that only this one, like the micro level layer, is the one that is farmer can control by themselves. All other can be controlled or influenced by the other stakeholders involved in our agri-food value chain. And here we came to the problems that not only organic agriculture, but agriculture in general are facing right now. And most of them are related to the one trend that is obvious in every country, which is related to the depopulation and, sorry, not the depopulation, but moving outside of rural areas, moving to the urban areas. So there's a lot of land that is staying in rural areas, but again, there's a huge problem with the land access. That land access is not only about the availability of a land, but also about the ownership of that land. And few other elements that I'm addressing with this presentation. One of them is, of course, related to the lack of the capital or the negotiation skills that especially young population should possess in order to get a better access to the land. But then you will find there are multiple other factors that are connected with the land access. You can find also that some of the rural areas have the very poor access to the markets. Then you can find the individual factors like poor knowledge or poor skills to produce the products that are where the demand is higher. And the many other that I try to incorporate into these slides. Some of the authors said that digital and other technologies can help us solve that problems. Others are opposing, and it's still a question of how we are going to create the business models that can fit to our needs. Then I present wide range of the factors that can influence our business. So among the subjective factors or objective factors, you can find that usually when someone wants to start the agricultural business, thinking about the agriculture as an uncertain, low-wage business, then you can find it that the usually youth population think about agriculture as a low-skill, low-technology business. When it comes to the subjective factors, it's always about the self-perception about the agriculture, and usually that is a negative self-perception about the agriculture. Then with some social factors, you can always think about it that the parents are motivating youth population to move outside from the rural areas to seek for better education, to seek for better job opportunities, and so on. Of course, you can always have the bad natural conditions, such as low soil quality, low precipitation or temperature regime, bad or inadequate water limitations, rugged terrain, and limited market access. Of course, there's some positive elements that can arise from people moving outside of rural areas. And some of them are improving non-provision and ecosystem services, soil recovery, water regulation, increased biodiversity, and so on. But of course, there's some negative that came as a result of moving outside from rural areas. And some of them are loss of farmland, soil erosion, increased the fire frequency. And again, we can find a diverse number of factors that can influence someone's decision to start the business in agriculture. And usually they are divided in three categories: to the non-economic factor, purely economic factors, and the factors related to the quality of life. And I just put few of them just to get the picture why we have such a situation in especially in rural areas and connected with the agricultural activities and connected with the organic agricultural activities. So some of the non-economic factors is because population is leaving country because of access to participation in higher education and entrance into the labor market. For the economic factors, because of the higher unemployment rates in rural areas compared to the urban areas. Of course, because of the local economy and labor market in that countries, and some of them related to the quality of life because of the lack of access to adequate employment, education, and health opportunities in rural areas. But many other factors exist, and we should be aware of them to create more diverse business models that suit to the needs of different generation. For example, I put here one slide with a few notes that the family background play important role if someone or youth population is going to continue to do agricultural business. Then the quality of life, of course, we already mentioned it. Individual context. Recent studies show that female agricultural workers are more willing to leave the rural areas in search of a better educational opportunities or worker opportunities or general quality of life. Just a few elements are emphasized especially by youth population, why the rural areas might be attractive for them. And usually they said rural regions are, of course, natural. Everyone knows everyone, peaceful, solidarity, and spirit of cooperation. They are beautiful, cozy, quiet, and pleasant for the youth population. They are usually connected with cultural heritage, clean and ethical food, space, and peace and experiences that can be achieved in rural areas. But of course, there's multiple elements that make situation worse. And for the farmers all over the world, it put pressure how to solve that situation. Here I present one research showing what kind of the obstacles organic farmers are usually facing. And they are summed up in a few notes. That certification is one issue, market or access to the market is another, knowledge information, third one, workload and costs are of course the one mentioned from the authors. But not presenting only the bad side from doing the organic or doing the conventional agricultural business. But as we are now focusing on sustainable business practices, I'm going to show you a few slides that is showing how the situation all over the world is changing right now. And on this slide, you can see that the line is moving from the ongoing or from current global food system to this point where all food systems are more sustainable. Organic is here right now, but sooner or later it will be here. But to come to this point, we should move through the several phases, and I will explain it a little bit later on, to transform the ongoing challenges and barriers that I already mentioned, and to improve the position of organic farmers all over the world. How we are going to do it? At the beginning of this presentation, it's already mentioned that European Green Deal is one option. More money will be allocated to the different funds for the sustainable development all over the world. Of course, the common agricultural policy in European Union is taking a lot of money to stimulate farmers all over the world to apply the sustainable environmental friendly practices. And you can see that organic already changed. This is a literature review from some of the research showing that organic already passed 3 different phases. And some authors already say that we are now in a 4th phases of organic development, and that organic movement is going to increase all during the time. Of course, it's increasing because there is a more and more research that is showing how organic comparing to the conventional is better. And I put here a few slides that is showing where organic is better comparing to the conventional. But I will just show it. I'm not going deeply through all of them. One of them is, of course, greenhouse gases emission, water pollution, and loss of nutrients. Of course, some of them are related to the soil quality. Other are related to the energy efficacy, increase in biodiversity, but also some related to the nutritional values, taste, pesticides, residues in food, quantity, quality, and others. Here I also show you some visualization of how the organic is comparing to the conventional agriculture, and this is a long-lasting study that is done by the group of authors. They compare organic agriculture compared to the conventional agriculture during the 40-year period. So let me just briefly, because I'm almost out of the time, explain you what is the situation with organic agriculture in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I took the example of medicinal and aromatical plant producers in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is a promising sector where a lot of farmers get involved but quickly leave the farming. Most of them were organic agriculture producers, and they leave it because of some of the reasons. And at the moment when I was when I was creating the proposal for my PhD, I was thinking what kind of factors can influence someone's decision to leave the organic farming. And then I was trying to investigate the motives of conversion, focusing on, of course, economic, environmental, and social aspect. Their innovation capacity to innovate, innovation capacity, their capacity to cooperate, their knowledge level, and their capacity to collect and disseminate information. Of course, few other elements that are part of my research, but not so important for this summer school. The financial performances and the impact of public policy. In my research, I find out that the level of cooperation of farmers, or their capacity to cooperate with the farmers, positively and statistically significantly cooperate with the motives, with the knowledge level, with the capacity to innovate, and the capacity to collect the information, which means that the farmers in Bosnia and Herzegovina should have capacity to cooperate on a very high level in order to achieve such other elements. But let me just show you one visualization of the situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Most of the farmers in Bosnia and Herzegovina who are doing the business in, of course, medicinal and aromatical plant sector, focused only here. Either they are producing and selling the fresh herbs, or they are selling it as a dried or as aromatical oils, which is lowest value added product. In order to improve on this pyramid, they should improve their skills. And once they move up on the pyramid, they will have the better position within the value chain. And all of that elements are interlinked, and they are connected. And I believe most of you who worked in the agriculture sector, you will find the familiar results in your studies or in your work. Once the farmers go up or producing a more technologically or advanced products, it's easier to cooperate with them. It's easier for them to sell their products and so on. What can be a problem for organic development in a specific country, and it is in Bosnia and Herzegovina, is if the consumption of organic products is at a low level. You can see in Bosnia and Herzegovina that the consumption pattern didn't change from 2011. So it's same for the data that I could collect. And while in Europe, you can see that consumption of organic products is continually growing. One of the problems that the farmers in Bosnia and Herzegovina face are related to the inconsistency of support, of budgetary support. And of course, that is a problem for the producers. In one of our research, we also identified for the most of the measures that our government is implementing, they're not so consistent. They have it for 1 year, and then next year they don't have it. That's a problem for organic, and that's a problem for all farmers, especially for small-scale farmers who should invest a lot of time to adjust their business models to apply for the specific funds from the government. But we should also be aware of one global trend, and that is related that many or more and more people are leaving agricultural activities. You can see it here on this slide that in agricultural sector, the number of people employed there is reducing over the time, while in other sectors is improving. For all age groups, it's the same situation. One of the problems that we in Bosnia and Herzegovina are facing that we don't have so many young farmers that are doing agricultural business. But that is, of course, a problem in most of the countries all over the world. And instead of the conclusion, I prepared this figure showing how we work on one paper believe that our transformation of agri-food value chain should be done. We highlight, of course, 3 pillars of sustainability: the economic, environmental, and social. And we said, if we want to achieve them, we have to improve networking in rural areas, funds from the common agricultural policies or any other national funds that are allocated to the agriculture, but also all complementary activities, rural tourism, ecotourism, should be on a higher level, but the allocation of funds also should be one very important topic. We should also think about why young population are not willing to do agricultural business. As I already mentioned, the problems related to the land access, they don't have the money to buy the land, they don't have the skills to start agricultural business, they don't have the interest to do it. And of course, we also address the issue that in some countries, there's some participants that are, there are some population that are moved or pushed to do the agricultural business without their willingness to do it. And on contrary, you have countries where some participants, some people are starting doing agricultural business because they find it interesting, attractive, and so on. In that areas, rural areas already achieved the transformation, and more people are coming back to the rural areas. With this slide, I would like to finish my presentation, and I'm open now for questions. And in case you need some more clarifications, you can write me on this email, and I'm more than happy to answer it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mujcinovic. It was very nice, very good presentations. Professor, thank you.